course, they've never given up their ambitions to pursue a nuclear weapon. And on top of that, they were just dragging out the negotiations. So I think he saw a moment in time that if we didn't act now, they would continue to rebuild their capabilities. And not just organically, by the way. They had been seeking cruise missiles from China. They've been asking for advanced fighter jets from Russia. All these things, I think, came together to say this is the moment to strike, particularly since, look, the apex of America's fighting force in the region had peaked. And at that point in time, you either have to use them or bring them home at some point because of the degradations of readiness.
Yeah, but this one much different. This attack much different than Operation Midnight Hammer. You have them taking out the religious and political leader of Iran. His title is Supreme Leader. That is not figurative. He is the complete leader, or he was at least, of Iran. How much does this change now the region, but also in Iran? What do you think happens next? I know that's a very open-ended question, right? Because Iran is sort of at this critical point in their history where everyone, so many people want change right now, and they need so much. And now the leader of that country may be gone.
Yeah, Tom, I think that's the key question. And everything that happens next pivots on the answer to this question. Because, look, Khamenei is dead. As of today, he used to be the longest-serving dictator in the world, sitting atop the world's greatest state sponsor of terrorism. For 37 years, he ruled that country. And as you rightly said, he built it up atop the IRGC, the military, and they expanded their reach through Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, through the Houthis in Yemen, the Shia militia groups in Iraq. And over the past 2 years, since the tragic day, October 7th, 2023, when Hamas killed 1,200 Israelis, Israel has been taking down each of those proxies, and the United States, of course, assisted along the way. So here we are at this key moment in time, and the answer to the question is, who is next? And I think one of your reporters said, yes, the Ayatollah has had a succession plan. But remember, that was disrupted about 18 months ago when the former president of Iran, Raisi, was killed unexpectedly in a helicopter crash. He was well-liked. He was close to Khamenei. He was a senior cleric. And there actually has been nobody really to fill those shoes. I mean, there's some outliers out there. I mean, the original Khamenei's grandson could be in the running. Khamenei's son himself could be in the running, although Khamenei did not want any type of hereditary theocracy. But I think the tension next will be who steps up. Will it be the theocracy led by the clerics who constitutionally have control right now? Will the IRGC step forward and try and take military control? Or will there be some type of pragmatists, the relative moderates within the country, who will try and seize control of the organs of power? Depending on how that plays out, who gains the upper hand in the next 24, 48, 96 hours, I think it's going to dictate in many ways where this goes over the coming days and weeks.
And Mark, as you mentioned, some of the Ayatollah's relatives, we are getting reports out of the state-run media in Iran that some relatives, including possibly a son-in-law, a daughter, and a grandchild, have also been killed in the attack that was targeting the Ayatollah. Before we go, we only have about 30 seconds here. Mark, if you were advising President Trump about his next move, what would you tell him?
I'd say keep the pressure on. Continue to outreach to the Iranian people. We can't affect regime change, but we can enable it. We can set the conditions. So hopefully we're providing covert assistance. We're encouraging them, but set the conditions to do that and press on the IRGC. They are the ones that continue to oppress the Iranian people. Killed at least 7,000 several weeks ago in January. I think looking at continuing to target the IRGC leadership, their barracks, their troops, everything that they would need to oppress the Iranian people and to prevent the Iranian people from overturning the government. That's where I would focus.
Former Defense Secretary Mark, we thank you so much for your analysis. The security stepped up here back at home in the U.S. after the attack on Iran. A live report. What people inside Iran are saying tonight, right after this quick break.
Give us the facts. Let us decide for ourselves.
I want you to be transparent, I guess, is firstly what I want.
If we got clear facts, maybe we could calm down a little.
Go for CRV savings. CRV gas and hybrid models are in stock. Drive home in a new CRV today. Just $279 a month. That's right. CRV's only $279 a month. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Style or substance. Somehow it became one or the other. But there is Another choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra. Get 0% APR on Sierra 1500 models. See your Northwest GMC dealer.
Mom, I got it. Life is but a dream. Life is but a dream.
Change happens fast. Lock in your internet price for 5 years and get online in no time with same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity. Imagine that.
No. I'm in my own head. What the heck are you talking about? I think I got away with something I shouldn't. See that brand new Hyundai Santa Fe? Yeah. Anything. Use that bucket on your own. Practice makes perfect.
Enjoy your new car.
Yeah, you too, bye.
Feels so wrong. It almost feels wrong. Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Tucson or lease for only $273 a month. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Go for CRV savings. CRV gas and hybrid models are in stock. Drive home in a new CRV today. Just $279 a month. That's right. CRV's only $279 a month. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Welcome back to our NBC News special report on today's strikes in Iran and the Iranian retaliation across the region. I want to bring in NBC's Yasmin Basuvian, who has sources on the ground and has reported from inside the country. Yasmin, first, tell our viewers here in the States, what are you hearing back from your sources in Iran?
There has been a lot going on really over the last 24 hours or so, I would say, Tom. It has been a roller coaster ride for many Iranians who were, for all intents and purposes, caught off guard with this attack. They were gaining communication from their own governments in which they were hearing that these negotiations were going well. However, when the U.S. and Israeli forces struck Iran, they were certainly caught off guard. There was both fear and elation and hope amidst it all, reconciling those feelings. Fear because they worried about the civilian casualties that could come from these strikes. There was hope and elation for the possibility of real effective change. You and I, Tom, talked extensively during the protests in late January in Iran, where thousands of Iranians were put at the hands of the local besieged police forces. And because of that, so many Iranians felt as if there needed to be real effective change. Their backs were up against the wall. The economy was really struggling there in Iran. So because of these strikes inside Iran, many people were running out of town, right? Blockades were building up on the highways getting out of Iran. Folks were going to the gas station, filling up their tanks, trying to get to safety. And many of them wondering that they were trying to wait for the very word that we heard when we were on the air, which was the death of the leaders inside of Iran, the death of the supreme leader of Ali Khamenei, right? He came to power in 1989. And when they heard that he in fact had been killed, there was elation, Tom, in the streets. There were folks that were celebrating his death. They were firing off firecrackers inside Tehran as well, because it was the very thing that they were looking for to drive them forward in what they want to see real effective change. I mean, we have to remember, look, Khamenei was someone who was brought into power to kind of maintain the loyalty to the resistance, right? Maintain the loyalty to the revolution inside the theocracy. He is the reason why so many Iranians were killed with so much brutality because of these domestic police forces. And so they see him as one of the big changes that they were looking for if change will come, if regime change will come for Iranians.
Yasmin, let's live in this moment right now because you have covered the Iranian American community extensively. You understand it. We saw some celebrations here already in the United States. The Ayatollah, as you mentioned, had thousands, some are saying tens of thousands killed during these protests.
Yeah.
Even children were put into prison, right? He's trampling rights, especially the rights of women in his country. And we started 2026, right, in South Florida and Venezuela with Venezuelan Americans celebrating when Nicolas Maduro was taken out of that country, right? Somebody else who really oppressed human rights in this country. Talk to me about what people are going through right now, both Iranian Americans and Iranians back over there, knowing that this man, this leader, this religious political leader who oppress so many could possibly be the occupation.
You know, as I mentioned, I think a lot of Iranians are celebrating this, but they're also trying to understand how it is they make a transition to a new regime without extreme civilian casualties. Iranians are incredibly nationalists, right? And they want to do this to a certain extent on their own with the help of the quote unquote West, that is the United States and Israel, and the attacks that are being leveled against Iran via them. But in understanding the death of Khamenei and the end, it seems, to what he thought was the ideology of this theocracy, they want to see real effective change. But they want it to happen swiftly, Tom. They don't want to see it happen at the hands of the loss of Iranian life. They don't want it to see happen at the hands of the loss of Iranian history and culture and the very place they love and they live. They want to see a regime change in which the country is maintained. And I only say that because they look, of course, the most recent history, right? Afghanistan and Iraq, and what took place there, and what was left behind in Afghanistan and Iraq, and the lack of infrastructure, and the government completely decimated, and thousands upon thousands of people killed, people at times going without food and water. And Iran already has many of those insecurities happening inside their country, whether it be food and water, job insecurity as well. But nonetheless, they want to see freedom. They want to see regime change, but not with Iranian lives lost, not with the loss of their culture, their dignity, and their country. So we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out, Tom.
And so many, the people of Iran have suffered so much, they do not deserve to suffer anymore. Yasmin, we thank you so much for your perspective. Let's turn out to President Trump's decision to launch these attacks and what could come next from the administration. For that, we go to Gabe Gutierrez at the White House. Gabe, as we were reporting this out and trying to understand this, the thinking by some was President Trump is talking